Hello, this is OverlordBou, and we're back with another ship review video, and today we'll be going over the new Tier 6 Royal Navy Battlecruiser, the Repulse. And you can get this ship in the new upcoming or current Dockyard event, which will be coming out in 10.11. So today I'll be talking about the ship, and at the end of the video I'll be discussing why I would highly recommend the Repulse. So let's look over the hull, then the build. So the Repulse has a 16mm bow with the little section right here, and it has the 152 armor citadel right there, 38. Top is 16, 26mm, and same with the aft back here. Now, something to note is that at the citadel line right here, the ship also does have a slight turtle back as well. It does have the 9-inch citadel belt right here underneath the torpedo belt. It is kind of hidden right there, so just wanted to make that clarify that it does have the little 9-inch protection right there. So makes it a lot more tanky than it seems. Anyway, let's go over the build and then we'll look at the replay while I talk about the ship. So the ship, I would recommend the main armament, engine boost modification since it has a engine boost, aiming, and steering modification. Now you are able to do propulsion, steering, whichever you like. I personally take steering to be able to turn the guns faster, and you'll see why as we talk down the video I'll explain more in the video as we go along. Now for the commander build, I would do preventative maintenance, brisk, adrenaline rush, fire prevention, concealment, emergency repair, and basis survivability. If you were going to build a 10-point, I would do the preventive maintenance, brisk, adrenaline rush, fire prevention, concealment, the emergency repair, and then the basis survivability. All right, so with the build explained, let's watch the replay as I talk about the ship and pretty much all of its stats. So let's hop on to it. Alright, so the Repulse has a survivability of 56,100 HP with the 16mm bow and stern, with a 26mm deck and 38 152 belt armor. It almost has the exact same armor layout as an Andre Doria, except for her bow stern being 16mm. Now her citadel is slightly above the water. Not very, it's only slightly above the water. Very, 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 very slightly. It's not as high as you would say like a Marlboro, which I showed in a previous video. Now this ship does have a 16% torpedo protection. Now the ship has a surprisingly high HP pool for a battle cruiser, but is vulnerable to citadels due to the slightly high position, so you definitely want to make sure you don't show too much broadside in this ship. Now, notable, it does have the 16mm bow and stern, allowing any battleship or super cruiser to overmatch her bow and stern. Also, DDHE can pen her bow and stern pretty effectively. Now, it also has poor torpedo damage, which is 16%. That is very poor for the tier. Now, even though it's a battle cruiser, it is surprisingly durable for it being a battle cruiser due to her high HP pool. Only 2k HP less than the highest HP BB at that tier, which is really shocking. Unfortunately, her armor is fairly light all around. High caliber AP BB shells, CAHE, or even DD or light cruiser with IFHE would pen her armor pretty easily. Now, generally fairly squishy, so it relies on positioning and evading damage to survive the battle. Now for the primary guns. The ship has 3 twin 381 42 guns with an ABX layout, same shells as the Queen Elizabeth, with a 27-second reload, 30-second turret traverse, and it can fire broadside 30 degrees off the rear and 30 degrees off the bow, which is very good gun angles. Ship does have a base range of 19.8 kilometers and a 2.0 sigma, which is a super cruiser dispersion, which is really good on the ship. Now these guns are the same guns as the Queen Elizabeth, but with higher range. It does use the super cruiser dispersion, so it makes it more accurate compared to other BBs of the same tier. And it does also, again, have very strong gun angles, which you can use to help angle yourself to enemy fire. Now, besides that, it does have a low damage output compared to other BBs, sadly. While her guns are very accurate, the Repulse only carries 6 of them, leading to the weakest broadside salvo among tier 6 BBs. That being said, though, they are still considered considerable threat to other cruisers and will overmatch tier 7 and below BBs with ease. In practice, her guns will hit hard and consistently so long as the player has accurate aim. Now, as you'll be seeing throughout this entire match, I am in an up-tiered match, so you'll be seeing how this ship kind of performs in an up-tiered scenario, since we all know tier 6s love to get into tier 8 matches. And to continue on, the ship does have 3 times triple 102/45 guns for secondaries, with 6 times single 102mm 45 guns. These secondary ranges are 4.96 kilometers. They are normal secondary accuracy, which is quite bad, and is also the worst tier 6 secondary battery at tier 6. So definitely do not build for secondaries in this ship. Definitely would highly not recommend it. Now for airstrikes to be able to hit submarines. The ship stores 2 airstrikes for submarines, and these do 3,000 damage per depth charge, 4 dropped per attack run, and does 75 seconds reload time and 8-kilometer range. Now they are fairly good damage, but smaller reticle, sadly. Now for the anti-air. Now this ship does have a one flak explosion, which definitely makes it extremely suffering indeed for anti-air. The ship does have poor AA and will struggle to shoot down planes as CVs continuously attack her over and over and over and over again. So wholly inadequate to deal with even tier 6 CVs. Now, while her DPS values look okay on paper, but it is severely hampered by their short range, which means that these ships can keep dropping, the CVs can keep dropping their orders over and over and over and over again. Now for maneuverability. This ship does have a base speed of 31.4 knots, and it also has an 8% speed boost as well. So if you build this with the speed flag and the signals and the brisk, along with the engine boost, it gets up to about almost 40. I believe it goes up to 40 knots or right around there. You'll have to see during the video. I don't remember on top of my head. The ship does have an 890 meter turn circle with a 14.4 rudder shift time. Now this is the fastest base speed at tier 6 for battleships. It can go faster even with the speed boost, which is incredible. Now it does also have the largest turning radius at tier 6 BBs. It also has a poor rudder shift time. So while the Repulse is unquestionably the fastest BB in her entire matchmaking bracket, she also has the worst turning ability among tier 6 battleships. Now, a successful Repulse player will rely more on her high speed for repositioning and evading shots, something she is surprisingly capable of doing. And during this video, you'll see me using throttle juking the whole time. It's very, 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 very useful to do, is learning how to throttle juke in this ship. Now for the concealment. The concealment in this ship base is 14 kilometers at sea and 9.6 kilometers for air. For the best concealed build is 12.6 kilometer for sea and 8.6 kilometer for air. Now it has a smoke firing penalty of 13.2 kilometers. Now the ship does have a good surface detection value. It is also fairly stealthy compared to many other BBs, though this is especially useful for Repulse due to her squishy hull and high speed ability to reposition. Now let's talk about the consumables. Now the consumables on this ship, it does have a standard DCP with infinite charges, an 80-second reload, and 15-second immunity. Now the ship does have a standard repair party, but instead of having a 4 repair parties. It only has a standard of, it only has 3 instead, so it has 1 less than normal. Now the ship also has a spotter plane with 4 charges of 100 seconds duration each, and has a reload of 240 seconds. So this ship already has a long range, and you can go even further. The ship also does have a unique battleship speed boost, which increases the speed by 8%, has a 180 second duration, and a 90 second reload. And of course, you get 3 charges with this. Now, the Repulse carrying the speed boost further accentuates her speed advantage over other battleships. This version is unique to her, having a shorter reload time than other BBs with speed boost. So otherwise, her consumables are pretty much standard, though she carries 1 less repair party due to her being a battle cruiser. So overall, I would say that the Repulse is a high skill floor and also high skill ceiling battle cruiser. In randoms, it's above average to good, surprisingly considering she is free as part of the Dockyard rewards. For ranked, I would say she's mediocre. While she has the speed to flank, she lacks the durability teams typically need from their BBs to be able to tank and push sides effectively. So in this case, her BB slot works against her. In operations, I would say Repulse is poor due to lacking the firepower and durability needed for other BBs to help carrying the operation. Her top speed is also not very useful in most operations. So for the Repulse being a tier 6 battle cruiser reward, her playstyle is similar to the French BB line, trading durability for increased speed, though in Repulse's case, the difference is more pronounced. Players can adapt a cruiser playstyle with her if they're unfamiliar with the French BBs. Her guns are fairly consistent due to her battle cruiser accuracy, though her overall damage output is notably less than other BBs. Importantly, her 381mm guns can overmatch 26mm armor, allowing Repulse to reliably threaten higher tier BBs. What truly makes Repulse unique is her amazing top speed. Using her amazing top speed, outclassing all other BBs and rivaling the faster cruisers in her matchmaking bracket. Like the French BBs, Repulse ideally wants to use her speed advantage to get on the enemy's flank or to quickly rotate to the other areas of the map if needed to cover a weaker flank. Now, due to her poor durability and unusual playstyle, she is one of the harder ships to play well. But if players can take full advantage of her accurate guns and positioning capabilities, Repulse will reward them in return with consistently good games. With this, I would highly recommend the Repulse, being that during the Dockyard event, since you don't have to pay for her, and just by playing the game and doing the Dockyard event, pretty much just playing the game and doing the Dockyard event, you get her for free, and you also get the Dreadnought for free as well. So you don't have to pay for her, you don't really have to do it, you don't have to pay money, you just have to play the game normally. So I think the Repulse is a really good Dockyard event ship releasing to the public. I think it's really worth the grind. It's a really good French battleship trainer as well. Now, as you can see during this match, I have been dealing with tier 8s and 7s this whole match, and with it being a tier 6, I felt this ship did adequately well for how much pressure was put upon her. Now, with ships like the Marlborough, which I did a previous video on, the ship has a really hard time dealing with up tier like tier 10s, or even at tier 9s it has trouble. So for the Repulse to be able to handle this as like the middle ground reward for the Dockyard, I think it's very, 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 very useful to get. And again, the ship does have, even though it is squishy, if you angle correctly, you can still tank enough damage to where you're not just going to get death struck across the map. So for sure. But I love the repositioning power of this ship. It is I love how fast it can go. You just zoom, 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 and if you build into brisk, you can just like if you just see a weak flank on your team, you just literally fly yourself all the way back over there, deal with that. It's just a beautiful, really quick ship overall. Now, the Dockyard event should be going live in is going to be going live in 10.11, which will be in the week of the second week in December, which will be around December 8th. So, if you're watching this video after that, the Dockyard event is already started, or if it's too late, the Dockyard is already done. So I'm sorry to say you did miss out on a very good ship. Now, if you have any questions or concerns, I would definitely say leave them down in the comments down below. But I would highly recommend anyone that's playing during ships during this time period, during the Dockyard event, definitely work to get the Repulse. 100% work to get it. It's definitely worth the grind. It's very fun to play. I had a blast. It's not like the Marlborough where I had to suffer through the ship over and over and over again. This ship is a lot of fun to play. But yep, if you guys have any questions or concerns, definitely leave them down in the comments down below. But this is OverlordBou, and I'll talk to y'all later. And again, I would highly recommend the Repulse. Oh, big stretch, dude. Oh, big stretch, yeah.